Okay, so today what we're going to do is take a look at introducing SolidWorks. SolidWorks is a 3D modeler, a very powerful package with many features, and what we're going to do is to focus on just a few of them today. We want to be able to create a simple sketch and then extrude that into a 3D solid. So to get started, you should have SolidWorks open on your computer, and where we're going to start is to come in and click on the upper left corner where we have the new parts icon. What we usually do in SolidWorks is to create a part. When we have multiple parts, we would combine those into an assembly, and then from our parts or assemblies we can create 2D drawing files from our 3D drawings. Right? And the 2D drawing files are typically used for manufacturing engineers to lay out process planning. So to start, we're going to create a simple three-dimensional part. So highlight part file, click OK, and that should bring you to this screen. Notice the layout. We have a bunch of icons across the top. There are some tabs that we can click to toggle between the ribbons. Where we will focus today will be on the Features ribbon, where we have commands such as Extrude, Revolve. We will also focus on the Sketch ribbon, where we have some basic sketching commands. And so the way things work in SolidWorks is that we're going to basically sketch a two-dimensional shape, then move over to the Features tree and take that 2D shape and change the geometry, stretch it, revolve it, do something to it to create a solid or a three-dimensional object. One of the first things that we want to do before we actually start drawing is just to confirm our units. There are multiple ways that you can do that. Up at the top, along just the top of your workspace, we have some icons. We've seen File New already, and so if we need to save our files, we can do that, print them. Under Edit, you have your classic cut, copy, paste, different view commands, which we'll get into as we progress. There are various things that we can insert, features that we can insert into our drawings. If we move over, all the way over to the right, we have our Options and Customize menus. We click under Options and scroll down. We have varying things that we can do in terms of display style, sketch relations, dealing with assemblies, again, stuff that you'll see moving forward. If you click on Document Properties and scroll down, notice that we do have units. And so the first thing that we're going to want to do is decide on the units that we want to create our drawing in. So typically we'll be using IPS, which would be inch, pound, seconds, or mmgs, which would be millimeters, grams, seconds. So length, mass, and time are the three units that we're concerned with here. So we'll leave it on IPS for now. Click OK. If you go down to the lower right portion of your workspace, notice it says IPS. If I were to expand, left click on that little tab there, we could actually toggle between mmgs or any of the other units. But again, let's just leave it on IPS for now. Now, SolidWorks, the way that one works within it is really kind of like if you were going to be talking to a fellow engineer, working with paper, pen, sketching out some stuff, planning. And so the first thing that we're going to want to do is come over to the upper left, click on Sketch, and we have some basic sketch tools. And these should all look pretty familiar with what you guys have seen in AutoCAD. So we can sketch a line, sketch a rectangle, sketch a slot, a circle. We can sketch an arc. Any of these tabs can be expanded, and so we have various ways that we can do that. We have other things over here that actually do not apply until we have stuff that we can work with, but there are things like mirror, linear sketch pattern, which would be similar to doing a rectangular copy or polar array copy in AutoCAD. Offset, again, something similar that you would have seen in AutoCAD. To get started, again, remember we're working in 3D. We're going to come down into our features tree, and we're going to actually select a plane that we want to work with. And so again, we're going to start with a two-dimensional shape that's going to be then extruded into a three-dimensional solid. So what we can do is point to a particular plane. We have our coordinate system down over here. So let's just say we want to draw something on the top plane. What I can do is come over, point to the top plane, and if I left click, I have a little pop-up menu, and I have sketch icon, show icon, zoom to selection icon, and then normal to. If I were to click on the normal to icon, what that would do is rotate my workspace now I would be normal to the top plane. And we can do some sketching. So let's say we want to create a simple sketch. Let's come over here. Let's left click on line. We get a little pop-up menu that says insert line. And what we're going to do is leave it as sketch. So we're going to do a little freehand sketch. Now SolidWorks does have a object snap similar to AutoCAD, and so let's start at the origin. Notice I get a nice little pencil there, and let's draw a line to the right. As we stretch it out, we're seeing an angle, so polar coordinates as well as distance. So stretch it out to the right. Let's maybe make a line that goes up a little bit. Left click again to end that. Let's create a little angle. Left click again. Again, notice the snap lines. We can left click, extend that line, and then drag that line down there. So I've created a simple little shape here. I have existing relations shown, and so as we progress in SolidWorks, we could add relations. We can force lines to be perpendicular, symmetrical, and that's what's shown with these little boxes here. So if you were to point to them, you can see what's going on there. Once we've finished our little sketch, I can hit the green check in the upper left corner, and my sketch is now complete. Notice down below I have what I'm doing, which is editing sketch 1. Shows up in my features tree, and it also indicates to me that it's undefined. SolidWorks is telling us that it doesn't have enough information to do anything with this yet by specifying that it's underdefined. What we want to do next is actually add some dimensions, and the way that we do that is simply through the Smart Dimension feature. Left clicking on Smart Dimensions. We're now going to take our rough sketch and we're going to add some dimensions. So if I were to click this line, I rough sketched it out to be 2.13 inches. Left click again. Maybe I want that to be 2 inches. So I'll type 2 in the box, hit the green check, or just hit enter, and I've adjusted this dimension. Maybe I want this dimension to be 1 inch. So again, using Smart Dimensions, I can do that. Maybe I want to specify an angle here. So what I can do there is select coincident lines, and I can drag out my angle, and I can specify that. So maybe I want that to be 45 degrees. Over here, let's specify this line. Maybe we want this line to be 1.5 inches. Notice I've added some dimensions, and now my drawing is fully defined. And so I have a sketch that I can now turn into a solid. So let's see how we do that. Let's come over here, and let's now exit our sketch. There's our little sketch. We're going to come to the features tree, and we're now going to extrude the sketch. So let's select our object. It says select the plane. And now notice we rotate, and we have some options. Direction 1, direction 2. The blind is set for direction 1, and if I were to come over and left click and increase the distance, you can see I'm creating a thicker block. Maybe I want direction 1 blind to be 0.5 inches. I have a little draft on and off setting where I could actually create tapers to my blind. Inward, outward. Let's turn the draft off so that we just have a rectangular or a block like this. Direction 2 allows me to draft going the other way. We'll turn that off. And then thin feature actually allows you to create a thin-walled object. So we can do that in one direction, set it via a mid-plane, 2 directions. We can increase the thickness of that. So again, we'll turn that off. So now I've created this little block. It's been extruded. I click the little green check, and I've now created a simple solid. If I come over to the icons that are just above it, I can change the orientation very easily. If I were to left click and expand this, I have top, front, right side, as you can see. If I come over here, I can select my 3-dimensional views, for instance, dimetric, trimetric, and so again, just changing the orientation slightly. If you were to hold your mouse button down, you could actually use your mouse to rotate the object into any singular plane. Going back to my icons, I can simply quickly reorient it to get a better look at what I'm working on. So there's your first introduction to creating a simple solid in SOLIDWORKS. Now that we've completed the part, let's go ahead and actually save it. And so we can come up over here to our file, save as, and we can pick a location. I'll save it to my desktop, give it a name, and notice the part extension .prt sldprt SOLIDWORKS part, and we'll click save. So this concludes our intro to SOLIDWORKS, where we've created a simple 2-dimensional sketch under the Sketch tab, and then used the Extruded Boss Base option to create the solid. What we'll do next, in the next video, is to expand on some of the topics and modify this particular part.